What is up, Scar Knight, bringing you a brand new Pokemon that has been introduced. This is Meltan. He has a hexagonal bolt on his head with like an orb floating in the middle, metallic body, and also on that metallic body he has a red tail with like two spokes sticking out from the backside. This Pokemon was actually introduced through Pokemon Go, and a lot of people thought that this was like a mistake, like some type of placeholder that people weren't really sure about, because it just appeared and they're like, wait, is this what like the default, like, oh, there's supposed to be a Pokemon here type of thing? Because I kind of get it, you know, there's like it would be like some type of tool icon that would appear. But then some other people were like, no, I mean, it would be a new Pokemon, but why would it be in Pokemon Go? It made no sense. This was all intentional. This was already planned out. They wanted to put this on there, and they wanted this to be a surprise and to make it appear around the world. Because it says right here in Cerebi.net that like all this was pretty much reported, that if you see a Meltan just randomly in the wild, I mean, this was in a community day, I believe. If you caught a Meltan, it would transform into a Ditto, and you'd be like, oh, I guess the Ditto had just seen the Meltan or something. Because I mean, Dittos, they can't just turn into any Pokemon they haven't met. Because if they, like for example, if a Ditto lives in Unova and it never seen like something like an Umbreon or something, since they're so rare in Unova, it can't just go like, oh, you know what, I'll just turn into this thing, you know, it's just whatever. It has to meet that Pokemon, because everything that's it turns into is based off memory. There's a couple of anime episodes that cover that. But it's not just Ditto actually, because it says sometimes Chikorita and other Pokemon well, if you catch Meltan, it'll turn into Chikorita. And what else? I believe that says it also changes into Kecleon. Now the Kecleon thing makes sense, and kind of. I mean, Kecleon doesn't really know transform. As for Chikorita, the reason it's Chikorita is because they try to distribute out people to catch Chikorita and like shiny Chikoritas and all that stuff. So, you know, it was like a special day for Chikorita and Bayleaf and such. So there was that. The most interesting thing to me, though, is that there was just 30 minutes for people to catch these Meltan. But, like, not really. It wasn't actually a solid Pokemon to catch. We'll get it solid because it's also liquid. It's kind of confusing. It says it spawns in great numbers in Europe for only 30 minutes, and it also did that for Japan, and it also did that for the Americas for 30 minutes. So spreading out throughout the continents for just 30 minutes when it comes to Pokemon Go for you to catch this Pokemon. And people are like, well, what the heck is going on? Like, it makes no sense. And like, people weren't sure on like the design, because they were still like confused whether it's just like a different variation of Ditto or a combination with a known. And the thing is, I like the design, but I don't think they have any relations to a known. Ditto more so closer to it, and I'll explain in a little bit why. But it's interesting that like Pokemon Company just kind of like went like, oh, we're gonna, they probably had a conference about this, or like, we're gonna have this new Pokemon, the way we're gonna introduce it, people are gonna just see it appear and they're gonna be like, what the heck, and we're just gonna do that all over the world. It doesn't say if it happened in Australia or, yeah, because it also says right here, when Community Day ended in Asia Pacifica, Oceania, many Pokemon turned into this brand new Pokemon shown. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I don't have Pokemon Go, so I didn't really see this. I just saw people's reaction towards this. They're like, what the heck is going on? So Design wise, I love it completely. I mean, I don't really just see the nut as a head. Like, people are kind of bashing it sometimes just for saying that. Like, okay, there's much worse Pokemon than picking on this guy. I think he's adorable, and not only that, I think he has a lot of potential as well. Because when I see this Pokemon, there was 3 types that floated over my head. I thought it was either Psychic, Ghost, or Steel type. It turns out Meltan is just completely Steel type. The reason I thought it was Psychic is because the floating orb in his hexagonal head would make sense, but then again, I guess it could be just magnetic now that I'm thinking about it. The reason I thought it was Ghost is because I didn't really see the metallic look to it as for a body. I thought it was like a ghost body, but that's what I was thinking. It's either like Psychic Steel or Psychic Ghost. It's like one or the other. And I could picture it attacking, like with Lunala's move, and the orb would like shoot out a laser. But I'm not that far off, because it says, well, before I get to that, actually, there was a random day where Pokemon Company dropped the video, and I watched it, and I didn't really understood it, because I thought it wasn't legitimate, because, I mean, it was just weird. I don't think I'm the only one that thinks so. Because, like, it's an interaction between Professor Willow, I should say, not Dr. Willow, that's Mega Man. Or, no, that's Wily. Whatever. He's talking to Professor Oak, and it just seemed off to me, to be honest. Because he saw, like, oh, I got you a new Pokemon. Oh, is it a Pikachu? Oh, I love those things. I got one for this little boy who got lost in the grass, and he almost went over there and killed himself. But, you know, it was like, no, Professor, I got you this another Pokemon. Oh, then it must be Eevee. Oh, it's like, what is going on here? Like, because like, you would think that he's going to go on and on. Oh, then it must be Rattata. Like, I don't know. It was weird, and the models were the same. For like, Professor Oak was based off the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, while Professor Willow is just Professor Willow. Like, completely 2 different body styles, and Professor Oak just seems to like mind wander off. I don't really know. So when he introduced this Pokemon, then Professor Oak just knows it. He's like, oh, I got actually papers of that Pokemon that you're talking about. Yeah, he's been a thing for a long time now. Where were you, man? Like, where were you? We all know this. But we all don't know this. I don't know why Professor Oak has held this information for so long if he's such an ancient Pokemon, but there's scripts of this. That doesn't explain why it's a thing now, waving across the world, because Professor Willow, he's in the Pokemon Go universe, so it's all like, you know? So I don't really necessarily know if this is canon then for Professor Willow to actually be a thing now, because he has interactions with Professor Oak. And it also doesn't really, because the timeline's even more screwy, because people are like thinking, well, if Meltan, which timeline is it? Because Let's Go Pokemon, or Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee has been confirmed a main series game. It's officially canon. But, I mean, is it a 3rd timeline, or is it like the first other 2? Because there's, I mean, I could make this a theory, but you know, there's obviously the main core series, Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Black and White, Black 2 and White 2, still the same timeline, X and Y, Sun and Moon, and then there's the other timeline where it's like, you know, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, and then Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I don't know if that counts or not. Then again, actually, no. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon would follow in the if Red, Blue, and then Yellow would be separate. I'm rambling on this. It's about Meltan. It's not so much about that. I think Meltan's in all the timelines. It's just it's just a thing now. It's, you know, because the last Pokemon that I did on was you know, Magiana, which is now Magierna. But yeah, so there is a Bulbapedia thing about it, and I think Professor Oak also covers it. It says that it could get other metals with it to make it stronger or whatever. I could probably see it a lot better. And yeah, the body is based off Mercury as well, so it pretty much could take in metal to add on to its own, and it also could absorb electricity and add it and use it as an attack. So the abilities aren't confirmed yet, but my guess is Lightning Rod, and if there's another one, probably like maybe Illusion, maybe, because I have a feeling the moves that it could learn like Thunderbolt, it could learn definitely Hyper Beam, maybe Meteor Mash, what else? I just feel like this is not just it. This isn't the only instance, and it turns out that this is like one of the smallest Steel type Pokemon ever. It's tied with the Alolan Diglett and Klefki as the shortest Steel type Pokemon, because compared to all the other Pokemon, it's really short. So my guess, and like I said, I already do like the design a lot. You know, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yeah, I like it. You know, some people don't really think so. I kind of disagree with those people though. It has so much to offer. It has like, you know, because if people are saying that it's an uninspired design, I mean, really, just look at some. There's gonna be a Pokemon. It's pretty much about everything. Like, it's not just animals, it's gonna be objects too, and it's gonna be spirits, it's gonna be many stuff of mythology. Don't be surprised if there's gonna be a toilet Pokemon and people are gonna bash it. It's gonna be water Steel type. It's just gonna happen. There's gonna be Pokemon just about everything. You know, there's garbage bag Pokemon, there's keys Pokemon, there's a lantern Pokemon, there's just, I mean, you can't just say that this isn't going to be a thing. It's a mythical Pokemon, which people are, the Pokemon company's putting out there, so that's interesting enough on itself. But the connection is where I'm stumped on. Because, you know, Ditto was the first thing that would appear, you know, and people would assume that maybe it's a Ditto evolution. I don't really think Ditto is the way to go. I don't think it's necessarily the evolution. However, I will say that the Beta Gold and Silver Ditto, they're saying that it's a Steel type. I don't really have the types presented to me in that document that I have. But they said that this Ditto, you use the metal coat and that's how you evolve into this thing. I didn't even know it was a Ditto. I just kind of had to guess it. I didn't figure it out till I was editing that video. But I didn't know that was a Steel type. So the thing is, I think if I were to look up for Ditto, I think Ditto is actually taller than this thing. So let me just look it up right here. Because my connection thing, the thing I came up with is that the same reason for Diancie and for Carbink, like, they're connected but they're not related quite yet. There might be something in the middle, unless it's just like the special gem Pokemon. So Ditto is 1 foot tall and 0.3 meters. Meltan is 0.08 in height and 0.2 meters. So yeah, Ditto is stacks over this thing, and it's not impossible because they happen. I mean, I shouldn't really make this comparison because it hasn't happened in Pokemon yet, but in Digimon it has happened where a bigger Digimon, you know, digivolve into a smaller Digimon. So who knows, maybe down the line it would be something like this. Or it could be if a Ditto does appear, or something like that, maybe if it come across as a legendary item, like the one that's on his head is the hexagonal bolt or whatever. If it come across that, then it becomes a mythical Pokemon, but it only works on Ditto or something like that. It doesn't really make sense, you know. There's also Fiona and Manaphy that are connected but not related, but that one's more obvious. That was like the first one. So whenever you guys think, just share it in the comments. Also share with your you know, what you think about this Pokemon design wise. I love it completely. It actually shows expression. They actually showed it in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. You know, looking all friendly. His eye moves depending on how it feels on his expressions, and you can see it on his body style. I think it has so much to offer, and it definitely works. There was another thing. Oh yeah, I think it's gonna have an evolution. Not really an evolution. It's gonna have a different form, because I think the next form is gonna be an electric steel type, because, you know, just like Hoopa, his other form will be Hoopa Unbound. Now for this one, it's like the way it explains itself, it's already hinting at that it has other properties. If it's gaining more metal, just like how Regirock's collecting more rocks to rebuild itself. Like Meltan, you know, he has Terminator 2 type of syndrome where metal liquid kind of makes him healthy again, but if it adds more to it, it's gonna become pretty much monstrous. Who knows what it's gonna look like if it does change forms. Also, if it gets overstacked the electric attack, it doesn't have to use that attack. It could store it in its power. So I don't know what it might possibly look like. This isn't the last you'll see of Meltan. There's gonna be different forms to it, and people are gonna grow to love it a lot. And yeah, so yeah, this is what it says on its biology. It is a curious and expressive Pokemon. Meltan's liquid arms and legs can corrode and absorb metal into its body. When it uses to generate electricity, its eyes can use the energy of fire and attack against opponents. So yeah, that's gonna be it for Meltan. And if you like this episode, don't forget to press that like button. Something that I should mention is that I haven't done the Sun and Moon thing in a long time. That's why you see the background of it. Part of the reason is because I kind of stopped right before Sun and Moon was released. That was a couple of years ago, and I could have presented more for Ultra Sun and Moon, but I kind of figured that there was no point to it because I knew there wasn't going to be much different. I mean, I could have covered it, but you know, there's not much there to it. And I could have done it to Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, but it's like the third remake, so I don't really know. It depends on you guys. If you guys want me to talk about Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, then sure enough. Did you know Brock is in the game? Oh my god, it's crazy. But yeah, hopefully more information will pop up. I will definitely go talk about it. When it comes to new Pokemon, I'll always talk about it. So there you go. So like I said, if you like this episode, don't forget to press that like button. If you really like this episode, please consider subscribing. If you haven't considered subscribing yet, please watch another one of my videos. I play the video games, and if you like playing video games, you might like my stuff. With that being said, do not forget to vote. If you are new here, you can vote in the bottom of the comment section. In any of my videos, just type in what game you would like me to play for my 10th Let's Play. My 10th Let's Play, walkthrough, playthrough, whatever you would like to call it. And be sure to vote. White Tigers Dragons, see you. And you've been scarred by the night. I'm out.